Oops. Technology, you gotta love it. Hi everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to the Jayda and Stitches show. And welcome to the craft room. Today we are going to do a little tag from Cinnamon Stitches. So we recently tagged her in a little video. Pardon me, I have to fiddle with my sound a little bit here. Just so I'm not hearing a crazy lag. Once again, I'm trying all the things where I change up my technology and I don't know what works and what doesn't. Okay, I think I fixed it. Anyway, we tagged Cinnamon last week in a little video on what was the oldest skein of yarn in your stash. And then she answered that and tagged me back with what's the oldest pattern book in your library. So we're going to talk about my library today. I've got quite an extensive collection of books on all manner of crafts and crochet and knitting patterns and the whole shebang. So I've pulled out my oldest one. Some of you may have seen the one that I learned from, which is pretty old. Another book, which I think is kind of neat, which is pretty old. And then if time allowing, I have another stack here of some old stuff. Up front, I just want to say the second oldest set of magazines I have are from the 1920s, but I have them tucked away in a safe place, and I wasn't able to pull them out in time for today's live stream. So you'll just have to settle for the oldest thing in my collection. Anyway, before I get too much further in, Mr. and Stitches, how are things going with the tech? And I think I can kind of see, I can pretty much see the chat. So I'm experimenting with a slightly larger screen today, everybody, so I can... everything's good. You all right?
I'm stuffing my face.
Oh, he's stuffing his face, and I don't want him to choke, so we'll let him talk again later. Okay, everything looks good, sounds good according to the chat. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. Great, super duper. Okay, so now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to start with my oldest book, or if I'm going to work up to the oldest book. I guess maybe I'll start with the oldest book because everything in this collection is kind of fun. I've been collecting books on how to crochet, knit, tat, needlepoint of all kinds, sew, embroider, weave, you name it. I've been collecting books on that, jewelry making, pattern drafting since I was probably a kid, to be perfectly honest, because that stuff has always sort of fascinated me. And I've kept them all. I have them all, and whenever I go to secondhand stores, I always look for books in the hobby section. Whenever I go to a bookstore, I kind of peruse the new hobby section books. I have to say, I probably get into a secondhand store more frequently than I get into a new bookstore, but it is always the section that I beeline to. So I have a pretty large bookcase behind me, and much of it is taken up with that library because how-to books tend to be kind of on the larger side. They're not like small like a novel. They're usually a lot bigger. So most of them can only fit on a larger shelving unit, but I do have smaller ones. I have an entire shelving unit over there that's also more little kind of books that are somewhat smaller. So I have quite an extensive collection. Plus I have a large magazine collection and some interesting little inserts too. So like I said, if I have some time, I'll get to that today as well. So let's talk about the oldest thing in my collection. The oldest book I have in my collection is from 1908. Beat that, Cinnamon. Or anybody else for that matter. It is technically a magazine. It is Weldon's Practical Hardanger. Hardanger is a hand embroidery that's Norwegian, I believe, in origin. And it's done by embroidering around counted cross stitch. So counted threads like you would get in a cross stitch. And then kind of in geometrical shape. So it's kind of like, it's just really old looking. I don't know anybody who practices Hardanger, so I'd be curious to know if any of you do. But this book is from 1908, and the best way I was able to date it, it doesn't actually have the date on it, but I was able to do a little bit of research on it. Somebody on Etsy has another version of this, and oh goodness. Oh, I missed it. Oh, no, I didn't. There it is. Somebody just bought a pattern. Hang on one second. I have to see who that was. Don't mind me. I'm still not sure what. I haven't got my glasses on. I should probably put my glasses on. That was. I promise I won't do this again. Darlene! Darlene, thank you for picking up a couple of patterns. Okay, I think I know where to look now. You know what, everybody? I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can actually see what's happening here.
I've had a bunch of membership milestones, and Nico gifted a membership.
Oh, thank you, Nico. Yes, Nico and Jojo both had membership milestones posted in the chat before we went live. I did manage to see those, and now I can see that Marie won the membership from Nico. Thank you, Nico. Okay, so back to the book. Someone is selling, I think, PDF copies of, or a PDF copy of this on Etsy. That was the closest thing I could find. But she said it was circa 1903. She or he, I don't know who it was that was selling it, but they said something like it's the exact same, it's the same volume, I guess, number that I have. It's the exact same one, same cover page and everything. I think they said it was circa 1903, but I've got the back page. This poor thing's falling apart. I have the back page here, and there are some absolutely fantastic ads in this. So one of the things I love about old magazines, and so I think Cinnamon was saying the same thing, is it's great. You know, there's patterns and there's helpful stuff in it and there's fun articles, but it's the ads, the advertisements that are in these old magazines that are just so charming, and they give you such a fun perspective on the racket of advertising from that era. You know, it's really difficult to see the manipulation in advertising when you're in it, but when you go back a couple decades, you can roll your eyes and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, like, I paid attention to these ads. Like, if you sit and watch a bunch of ads from the 80s, you laugh yourself silly. So the ads are just so fun because some of them seem so like, oh, hoity-toity. Now, this is, I think, a publication that came from London, England, in particular. So most of the people advertising in this circular are going to be from England or from London in particular. But it does say on the front page, is it the front page or was it inside the second page? They basically suggest that, oh yes, allow me to read to you. Weldon's Practical Needlework is issued on the 20th of each month by Weldon's Limited, 30 and 31st, Southampton Street, Strand, London. Price 2D. So I don't know, British family, if you can chime in here, what would D have mean? I know a P meant pence, but what does the D mean? Over 300 numbers now ready and always in print. Yearly subscription, post free to any part of the world. It says 2S and 6D. I'm not sure what that means. 2 sterling, 6D. So £2 sterling, maybe. The S is sterling, but what's D? I don't know. Numbers 1 to 300 may be bound in 25 volumes, price 2 sterling, 6D each. D was the old pence. Okay, Caroline, thank you. D was old pence. Why? Why did they use D for pence? There's no D in pence at all. Again, I want the history, please and thank you. Anyway, so you could technically have it sent to you anywhere. So I don't know exactly where this copy came from. I can tell you I picked it up in Nova Scotia 25 years ago at a secondhand store. And obviously it originated in London. And I'm guessing that it probably was purchased by somebody in Nova Scotia. But anyway, that's how I came by it. But this is why I figured it was at least 1908. There is this ad at the top. Weldon's Paper Patterns, 6p each. Apparently they won the silver medal in London in 1885 and the gold medal in London in 1908. So they're going to list, obviously, their most recent accolades. And I'm guessing that 1908 would have been the most recent. So that's why I'm saying it's at least 1908 and definitely not 1903 because they wouldn't have known they'd won the gold medal in 1908 if this was published in 1903. Anyway, some of these, you know how on a website you see like, people's reviews or, even now any kind of publication will have maybe like a little snatch of a review in it, a snippet. I love some of these. The Daily Chronicle says, thoroughly practical fashion books, cheaper and better than ever. The Ladies Pictorial says, for patterns of all kinds, I can thoroughly recommend Weldon's. And the Gentlewoman says, the best paper patterns come from Weldon's. Now, whether or not that's true or just made up, I mean, you know, only 100 and some odd years can say. But these are just so fun. There's an ad for Beehive rug wool here. Oriental Smyrna rugs, Smyrna, Smyrna. I don't know. Some kind of wool anyway. Vickers Lustrin cable, twisted, a beautifully silky thread suitable for every kind of embroidery. I love this stuff. So this is the oldest in my collection. And then I said, like, I have a set of magazines that are from the 20s. Eventually, one day I'll pull them out. But this is sort of just to give you a look at some of the work that's in here. This stuff is absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to do some. But this, like I said, it's all work done on counted threads. So if you do any cross stitch, you know that the kind of fabric you buy to do cross stitch on is counted threads. And you can buy counted threads of more or less threads, depending on the kind of cross stitch you want to do or the size of the cross stitch you want to do. You obviously, I'm guessing, would want to maybe use counted threads that were fewer, because it looks like you do some embroidery and then maybe you cut the threads out of the middle that you're not using. But I'm not entirely sure, as I haven't really done any of this. Hardinger is some work that I hope to do at some point. This stuff's really neat. And then there's even one on the cover. I'm going to show you some of the work on the cover. It looks like some of the threads are either left in or they're added in afterwards. So you can see there's little tiny cross threads. Some of them are X's, some of them are just on the diagonal that are inside the holes of all the work around it. I think that's really neat. I just noticed another ad that I need to read you. Ladyship wools. Of course, they cost more than other wools, but then they last much longer, they do not shrink, they do not fade, they are evenly made, they are delightful to knit, they are soft and springy to wear, they have reached the highest point of perfection in knitting wools. They can be bought from the leading wool dealers in each town. They are the best and therefore the cheapest. They are made by Baldwin and Walker Limited, Westcroft Mills, Halifax. I just love this. These are great. Anyway, so that's my oldest book. This is all Hardinger embroidery, the whole thing. So the whole thing is little kind of embroidery. I want to say patterns, but a lot of them, it looks to me like are actual ideas. But then again, maybe if it's the same kind of, if it's the same concept used throughout, so it's not like there's a bunch of different stitches and stitch combinations like crochet or knitting. If it's just, well, you know, it's either you're embroidering around 2 or 4. If it's that simple, then maybe all you have to really do is just look at the picture, because there's just a lot of pictures in here, but there's no directions, no specific directions. Anyway, that's the oldest one in my collection. 1908, circa. And I love that. Unfortunately, the poor thing's falling apart, but I do pull it out and look at it quite a bit, so that might be why. All right, so the next one I wanted to show you guys today.
Before you read that out, I'm going to read out some of our super chats.
Sure.
Membership milestones. So it looks like I've got a list here. YouTube lets you kind of go back and find them. So the first one I see is from Nico. Nico wrote this before we started. I can write what I want because no one is here yet.
And now you've just blown Nico's cover.
Now we all know that was Nico. Next one is Jojo. Jojo says, Happy Monday.
Thank you, Jojo.
Let me see if I can scroll here without it getting all messed up. And Georgie, a membership milestone, says, Hi at work. working on a Christmas whip. Have many from gifted me. Have many from gifted me.
Oh, like whips? Georgie's working on a work in progress?
Christmas whips.
Oh yeah. Those are things that people often don't finish.
Yes. And then a membership gift, a gifted membership from Nico. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Nico.
I think that covers all those.
Okay.
Back
great.
to Jayda.
Just reminded me that I got my new kerchief on. I think I'm just gonna show this to you guys. I posted a photograph of it in the community tab yesterday. But I thought I would just show you up close because a couple people kind of commented on the picture that they were hoping to see it. So this is the cottage kerchief pattern that we just put up 2 Fridays ago. I was chit-chatting with Blossom over the weekend, and she reminded me that I wanted to do one of these in thread. I have wanted to do thread versions of a lot of stuff. And it occurred to me that I might be able to get this one done in relatively decent time. So this is a size 3 fashion crochet thread, and it's all in black. I love black. I wear a lot of black. And I even like to crochet with black, but obviously I don't do tutorials in black because you'd never see what I was doing. And as a result, I don't get around to doing a lot of this for me, because usually when I'm crocheting something, I'm like, well, I'll just film it, you know. So I put that together yesterday. It's the cottage kerchief, exact same pattern. I used the 2.25 millimeter hook, also known as the B, and I used the size 3 crochet thread, and I made 36 rows instead of like the 24 to 26 that we did in the tutorial, because obviously with a finer weight thread or yarn, you have to add more rows. But then I added that little charm at the bottom, and I don't know if you could tell, but it's a chubby little narwhal. It is so cute. So I had to add something cute to the bottom.
I'm going to try and zoom in on our little narwhal there.
We'll see if you can do that.
Let me see if I can do it from here.
Hold it. I'll hold it as steady as I can.
Yeah, it works. There's the little guy.
It's so cute.
Chubby narwhal.
Chubby little narwhal. Yeah. Anyway, love that. Once I tie my... Do you guys do this? Once you tie your kerchiefs, do you just like kind of slip them over your head like a hairband, and then just treat them like a hairband? That's what I do.
Real quick shout out to Lucy, who gifted a channel membership.
Thank you, Lucy.
And I think the winner was another yarn.
Another yarn.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice is that? That's cool.
Thank you, Lucy.
All right, so this is the next book in my collection I wanted to show you. It's not one of the oldest by any stretch. I have a lot of books from the 50s, the 60s, fun little inserts. Like I said, I've got a couple here that I might show you. But this one I felt was worth talking about because this is the book I learned to crochet from. Now, we did an entire video about this years ago on how I learned to crochet. I come from a knitting background. I was taught how to knit in 4-H. So if you're Canadian and you're part of the 4-H family, then you might know what I'm talking about. But this was this wasn't the I've got a cow or a pig and I'm raising it for show at the fair. This is the other half of 4-H. 4-H also does, like, I don't know, I'm not even sure what kind of a wing that would be called, like the domestic wing, I guess. It's like you learn how to cook and sew and knit and crochet and a whole bunch of other things, or whatever kind of unit maybe the group wants to do. So my introduction to 4-H was through learning how to knit with my then best friend Jennifer. And
we have a super chat.
Kathy and Ron, thank you. What a wonderful way to spend a Monday morning with our long-lost relatives, Jayda and Mr. InStitches. We love you, Ron and Kathy. Thank you very much, Ron and Kathy. Glad you guys could make it. And right after Ron and Kathy, Diane, member for 28 months with a membership milestone. Jayda, you and Mr. InStitches are wonderful. Love you. Thank you. Boy, there's just so much...
There's so much love in the room today.
So much love and positivity in the chat there.
It's a Monday of love.
Am I blushing? I feel like I'm blushing.
Yep, you're blushing all right.
Anyway, I learned how to knit. So, and I was like 10 or 11 at the time. I was pretty young. And I liked it. It was okay, but it took really long. And when you're a young child, especially a young bouncy child like myself, knitting maybe isn't something you want to spend your time doing because it just takes too long. And I have to say the needles I was working with were really long and they were a bit cumbersome, and I wasn't super tall. So I put my knitting down for a couple years, and then I picked it back up again. When I was 13 or 14, I started really getting into knitting in a big way. I was really starting to enjoy it. By that point, I was already firmly into sewing a lot of my own clothes. Almost everything I wore to school, I had sewn myself. And I was teased mercilessly for it, but I didn't care. And then I remembered that I had a crochet hook in my collection because I was out at a secondhand store and I came across this book. And I picked it up and it just really appealed to me, probably because I love these ponchos on the back. And I was a teenager in the 90s. And the 70s, of course, were in the 90s. Just like the 90s were in the 2010s and so on and so on. It's like there's like this funny little 20-year go-round. So this really appealed to me because I thought, oh, that's so cool. Like I remember being really, really, really little and my slightly older cousins who were like 12 and 15 years older than me had cool 70s stuff when they were teenagers. And I remember being a little kid and being kind of, you know, enamored with my older cousins. And so this obviously kind of wrung a heartstring for me. So I bought the book. And I mean, it was only, I don't know. Originally, this leaflet says it was at Woolworths, I guess, originally purchased for $3.25. It's from 1976. Leisure Arts, 1976. So it was originally $3.25 at Woolworths. I think I probably paid $1 for it at the secondhand store. And I brought it home and I realized that it was all crochet and there was no knitting in it. And I had originally thought, oh, I should be able to figure out knitting these things based on the instructions. But then realized pretty quickly that it was very different. And I thought, I'm pretty sure I have a crochet hook around. I remember this dim little bell going off in my head. And I'm like, yeah, I got one of those. Sure enough, it was in my sewing basket because that's where I kept all of my like I've got rug hooks and all sorts of stuff. Pulled it out. It was a 5.5 millimeter. I still have it in my collection. And I grabbed some of my knitting yarn and got to town. So I sat down with the book because the book had this in it. That's your introduction sort of photographs. And I thought it was so cute. The other day, Cinnamon said in her video, I can't imagine having learned to crochet from looking at pictures. And that is exactly what I did because there was no internet to speak of when I was a teenager of about 13 or 14. And so I just pulled this up and I angled my hook the way I saw it in the picture. And I wrapped my yarn around it the way I saw it in the picture. And I did my best to follow the instructions. And I figured out how to single crochet. And I figured out how to double crochet. And before I made anything in this book, I just started practicing single crochet. And I actually wound up crocheting myself a hat. I was single crocheting in a circle, which I don't think is how most people typically learn. But I realized I could go in a circle. So I made myself a hat. And it was partly because all I could do right then was make hats. Like I was obsessed with hats. I was sewing hats. I always had a different hat for a different day of the week. I love making hats. So of course the first thing I had to make was a hat. And it was wearable. It was brown. It looked like the 70s. It was all kind of like different shades of brown and there were some interesting different textures in there because I think I just had a bunch of leftover brown yarns in this stash of yarn that I had that I was trying to use up because I was really just trying to practice. But once I had it all finished, I thought it kind of looked neat. So it's probably not something that I would wear now. In fact, I'm not even sure what happened to that hat, but I do know that at the time I wore it quite a bit. I was pretty proud of it because I'd finally made it myself and I hadn't followed a pattern. So the first thing I crocheted, I just winged it. But anyway, I followed these little instructions and they were pretty helpful. You know, it goes into there's a few pages actually of this. I felt that the diagrams were pretty good and the descriptions were pretty good, but I think having come from a knitting background, it helped a lot. It already helped that I was comfortable holding a small utensil in my hand. It helped that I'm right-handed because this was all kind of from the right-handed perspective. And I also was comfortable feeding yarn to my utensil. So I didn't have the added complication of all those things trying to learn how to crochet. So yeah, I managed to make it through learning how to crochet with this book. And then ironically, I didn't use any of the patterns that were in here until much, much later. I made this little Isn't that adorable? This little baby jacket with a hood. That is just so darn cute. Yeah, so I made that for one of those same cousins that I thought was so cool when I was a teenager, because she had recently had a little girl, and I made it using bright, cheerful rainbow yarn that I had. But true to form, and you've probably heard me tell this story before, this is the very baby jacket that I made without checking my gauge. And as a result, what should have been a baby jacket turned out to be a toddler jacket. So I gave it to her anyways, and a couple years later I got a photo of my little cousin wearing it once she was old enough and big enough to wear it. So always check your gauge. It's very important. But yeah, so far that's the only thing from this book that I've made. I have made multiple granny square ponchos that look like this, but I never actually used the pattern from this book, because by the time I was getting around to doing granny squares and turning them into things, I actually didn't really need the book any longer. But I have it in my collection. I'm probably going to challenge myself. Maybe this will be something I do in 2024. I'm going to do everything in this book again. I mean, I've done one thing, but I would like to sit down and just work my way through every single pattern in this book, just for fun, just to sort of see how it looks. And I might even try to match the colors as best I can. I really like this little, like, almost, I don't know what kind of a little, like, shirt you'd call that, like a little, such a cute little blouse. It's like a little over blouse that you would wear over, like she's wearing it over top of a long sleeve turtleneck. Kind of think that's cute. I'm not sure what the point of that is, other than to just add a bit of splash of color and texture to an outfit. Like, she's wearing it with jeans and a cute little kerchief in her hair. I actually kind of like that outfit. But yeah, so I think I might sort of sit myself down and work my way through all of these. There's a few kind of neat things in here. So that might be a fun challenge for next year. But anyway, that's the book I learned with, and that's from 1976. So I obviously didn't get it that year, but it's a very helpful little book, and it helped me learn how to crochet. So that was the second one I wanted to mention today. And the third one I wanted to mention.
I'd like to chime in quickly and
Sure.
shout out Nico for another membership gift. The winner is Claire Bull.
Claire Bull. Claire. Thank you so much, Nico, and welcome, Claire.
A quick shout out
Again,
to Diane.
welcome back, Claire.
A quick shout out to Diane for the membership milestone. Diane says, Jayda, you and Mr. InStitches are wonderful. Love you.
I read that one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But it's worth repeating. Thank you, Diane. Okay, so this is the next book I wanted to mention to you because it's got kind of a fun story behind it. And I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like things with a story behind it are just so much more fun than things that don't have a story behind it. Humans love stories. You know, we kind of structure our entire existence on stories. So a good story is worth retelling, and this has a good little story to it. So this is 100 embroidery stitches. It's a very firmly built little leaflet. It's from 1967. Yes. J&P Coats, UK, Limited, 1967. And it's probably something that you would have picked up when you were picking up your embroidery floss. It might have been an insert for a regular magazine or like a periodical or something. But I found it in a secondhand store in Inverness, Scotland. And the reason I found this, and it's great. It's got all sorts of, again, really fantastic diagrams, just sort of explaining how to make the stitch, the names of the stitches, just if you want. And I love embroidery. I love embroidery. If I had more time to do embroidery, I would. But every once in a while, you'll see me sneak the odd little picture into the community tab of our YouTube channel. When I get around to doing a little embroidery. I think the most recent project that I completed was 3 little hearts embroidered on the bottom of a denim skirt that I have. I really like embroidery. I like freehand. I like just any of it. I like following other people's embroidery patterns. But at the time I had done a lot of freehand embroidery, and I have to pause. There's a black fox.
Oh my goodness.
Did you see that?
I just saw him.
That was a fox.
He just ran by. Otherwise, I would have spun the camera around. He was moving too quickly, but that was a black fox.
I just barely saw his butt.
Wow. How cool is that?
Oh,
Sorry.
there he is. Oh my god, he's so cute. Hi, buddy.
How come he's missing his tail?
Well, it's just the fur's gone.
His furs were missing from his tail.
That
Beg your
was a
pardon.
black fox.
That was a black fox.
And he was barely the size of a cat.
Yeah, I
Just
thought it
little
was a
bigger
cat
than
for a second. Then I realized no, and then I thought it was a dog, and I'm like, that's a fox. Wow. Pardon me.
I don't think I've ever seen a black fox before.
That's a magical little... Oh, Shell, member for 56 months. Thank you, Shell, with a membership milestone. Stopping by for a quick hello. I had the photo of those ponchos saved in the late 1990s. Oh my gosh, no way. I wanted to be able to make it. Thanks for your channel. I can. I'm so happy to hear that. Well, isn't that cool? I think a lot of us, probably of the same age group, probably looked at those things and thought, oh, that's so cool. About the same time, our mothers were going, ugh, don't show me that. It's so funny how bored you get with something that was in when you were a teenager. And then, like, you know, the next group of teenagers comes along and goes, oh, it's so cool. Okay, so black foxes aside. I was on a trip to Scotland many moons ago. 26 years ago. It was quite a long time ago. And it was a bus tour. And one of the places we were going to stop was Inverness. And Inverness, Scotland, has St. Andrew's Golf Course. Now, we weren't going there, but that was a big draw for a lot of the people in this group that was traveling around. And I wanted to go down and see the beach. And, you know, we just did kind of the bus drops you off, you get to wander around. Inverness is a lovely little town. What I could see of it, I'm getting to that. We got to Inverness sometime in the morning, and it was a gorgeous sunny day. Absolutely gorgeous. And our tour guide turned around and said, wow, you're in luck. What a beautiful day. And he literally stopped in mid-sentence, and we all looked out the window, and you could just see this pea soup bank of clouds just rolling in off the ocean. So we all ran off the bus, and I ran down to the beach because I wanted to see the beach. And I kind of wanted, you know, just sort of look around. And I stood there as the cloud enveloped me. It was really cool. And I like standing in fog clouds. It's a kind of a neat feeling. It's cool and it's wet and it's weird and your senses get all confused. So I kind of stumbled around on the beach for a while in this fog bank. Everybody's golf course game was canceled. And there was barely anything to see because it was such a heavy bank of cloud. So I was kind of found my way back to the main strip, and I was wandering down into town. And I was wandering along, and I came across a secondhand bookstore, and I cannot resist a secondhand bookstore. So, ba-bing, in I went. And I wandered down the steps, and I went to the hobby section, and this is one of several books that I picked up that day. I think it was only like, I don't know, 25 pence. It was so cheap, and I thought, well, I have to have that because I'm all about embroidery now. And I realized it was quite a handy little guide, so I picked it up. I picked up a couple other books too, one on making stuffed toys. I love to do that. And actually 2 on making stuffed toys, which are tucked away down here, and that might be another video for another time. But I picked this up, and I was so engaged with it that I kind of lost track of time. Almost missed the bus. And then when I got back on the bus, the fog was still so thick that we really couldn't see much out the window. So I just sat on the bus and read through my new embroidery book. And so every time I pick this up, I think of that trip. So I love that. If you are the type to do a little bit of traveling, then I highly recommend making your mementos, the souvenirs you might pick up. Oh my goodness.
Hey-ho!
Holly! Holly, thank you so much for picking up some patterns at our shop. We really appreciate it. Our 5 or more sale starts tomorrow. So keep that in mind if you want to buy some patterns. We've got a big special sale going on for the month of August. So thank you very much. And Connie, a member for 53 months. Thank you very much for the membership milestone. Just a big heart. Yeah, so I was saying, if you're going traveling and you want to pick up a little memento or something, I highly recommend doing things like picking up something that you're going to want to reach for regularly in your happy day life. So, for example, if you love crocheting, if you weren't here, when you're out and about, look for bookstores or secondhand bookstores and see what they have by way of hobby books, because it's going to be something you want to reach for. Huh?
Did you shout out Connie?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be something you might reach for regularly, and every time you do, it'll have that happy little memory associated with it. Or, you know, tools, crochet hooks, nice pairs of scissors, yarn needles, yarn, obviously, that kind of stuff. That's the sort of thing I like to get when I'm on vacation, because, I mean, I do like a cute magnet for the fridge, but I'm more likely to, time and again, go back to something like a book like this and remember the story and just remember that day, and I enjoy the book twice as much than I maybe normally would because it's got this lovely story attached to it. So anyway, I thought you might get a kick out of hearing that. That one's from 1967, so it's pretty old. Obviously, it was printed long before I came along, but it's an excellent book. I really like it. A little sip of water. Mr. Stitches, how long have we been live streaming for?
Hello. How are you today?
How are you today?
I am no longer choking on popcorn.
I'm very, very pleased to hear that.
I'm getting all kinds of surprises today. Choking on popcorn, a black fox.
Fox? That was wild.
I hope he's not eating all of the squirrels.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know we have a squirrel problem, but...
Everyone has a squirrel problem.
Connie! Connie just gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Connie.
Yeah, that's right. So Connie.
And
Wow.
Maria won it.
Congratulations to Maria. Did you have a question for me?
Yeah, I wanted to know how long we've been live streaming.
I'm going to get fired today. 36 minutes.
Okay, so I do have time to add in a few extra
Alrighty.
books. All right. So,
before you go into that, a handful of people asked about your top. I do believe that's the beach cover-up.
it's the overdress or the beach cover-up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you remember what we titled the video? Because I know there's an Etsy pattern, a written pattern, and there's also a video, correct?
yes, it's our summer cover-up.
Summer cover-up.
Or overdress.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to confirm because that's what I said in the chat.
I love this. I wear this a lot. It's cool enough that you can, like, it's just enough cover, but it's like, it's very cool because it's breezy with all the sort of with the shell stitch we used. I used a Karen cotton cake to make this, which is kind of a cotton blend. So I recommend if you're going to do it, go with the cotton 100% or the cotton blend. 100% cotton would be a little cooler. And I recommend a very well spun yarn, mercerized if you can get it. Like if I had access to 24/7 cotton when I designed this, I probably would have used 24/7 cotton. But I do like the Karen cotton cake because it's soft. But it's a blend, so it's a little warmer than maybe it would be if it was just 100% cotton. But that's not a big deal in Canada.
I want to share this with you. One of our channel members, Lena, says, so cool. My oldest little booklet is from 1967. It's from Handverkat, Sweden.
Cool.
Oh, it's in Sweden. That's really cool. I can't pronounce those names. Laurgren Christianstad.
Christianstad? Well, Christianstad would be Christian.
Would you be able to take a photograph of the cover and send it to us? I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to see that too.
Send it through our Etsy shop messaging system.
And if you guys, like Cinnamon says, if you're gonna make
Actually, you know what? We should have everyone do that.
Yeah.
If you have any old book, I mean, don't send all of them, but just your oldest. Because you'll fill our inbox. Your oldest, just take a picture of the cover and maybe we'll post them to the community tab because I think everyone would enjoy seeing that.
Yes.
Just the cover.
Yes. Yeah. And if you do make a video about your oldest
or a video
book, tag Cinnamon because she asked you to. And if you just have a photo that you want to share.
Cinnamon is watching, just so you know.
Good. Hi, Jennifer. If you've got books that you want to share, like the picture of the cover, and you'd like to share them in the community, you can send them to us at our Etsy shop, and we'll just create like a nice little collage of them with everybody's names associated, and that might be really fun for everybody to see. Seeing these old things is really cool. I love it, and I'm glad Jennifer's here because I have a bunch of books I want to show Jennifer in particular. Okay. Glad we still have some time left. This is good. All right. First of all, yes, I too have the Stitch by Stitch books. I don't have them all, and I love them. And I pulled this one out in particular because look at the cover of this. Just look at that. That is all quilted. That is all little stuffed little things in relief. It's all hand like appliqued and quilted. I'm obsessed with this. It is just so cute. Anyway, I haven't got all of the Stitch by Stitches, but I go looking for them every time I go to a secondhand store. I'm collecting these. And there are 3 more I'm going to show you. So this is the Stitch by Stitch set that Cinnamon had in her video. And if I wholeheartedly second her opinion, if you find them, buy them. They're great. They're so much fun. There's everything in them. There's sewing, there's crochet. There's like a whole crochet course. Like, look at this. This is nice bright photos, the color. That sort of tells you how to just make some simple edging. Just love these. Absolutely love these. Love these books so much. They're the kind of thing that you would like. I'm going to take my little kerchief off. They're the kind of thing that you would sit and stare at like for hours. At least I do. I love them. There's so many fun ideas in them. So yeah, that's the Stitch by Stitch. This is from the 80s. I'm pretty sure. I think Cinnamon found the date on them. 85. Yeah, so this series is from 85. Okay. Then, my personal favorite, the ones that I am scouring the universe for, the Make It Yourself series. This is from the early to mid 70s, and the photographs were all shot in Germany. And I know that because I have pored over the books in the series that I do have, and every time there's a book, like someone's holding a book because they're modeling an outfit, it's in German. Every single one. So the photographs were all taken, I am convinced, in Germany. Plus the kids, like they're all like, the little boys remind me of my little German friends from when I was little. They're like platinum blonde. You know, they're all in kind of very German looking settings, you know, like they're in front of it. So I'm pretty sure that the photography at least was all done in Germany. But the books themselves are in English. So this is my favorite set, and I'm running around the world trying to find these in secondhand stores. These ones, this is printed in New York, 1973. So there you go, 1973, early 70s for this set. Make It Yourself. I love them. And they're just like Stitch by Stitch. You've got needlework, sewing, like knitting, crochet, occasional tatting, some fun just little crafty things like the shoestring crafts, which I think, Cinnamon, I think shoestring may have been a reference to like a shoestring budget, like it's cheap. Like this is the stuff you can make with your leftovers, your scraps, the things that I think that's what they mean by shoestring. That's why that set of crafts is called the shoestrings. They've got stuff like that in here too. And just like look at these pictures. Oh, it's just
That's very 80s.
It's just so cute.
That looks early 80s.
Yeah, it's early 70s.
Oh,
it's
that's early 70s?
This is
I
why
thought you said 85.
You're thinking that because these look like your photos from your family album. Like, I mean, we all have photos that look like this.
Yeah,
all of us
that
girls
looks
have like
exactly
the bowl
like
cut.
the first photos of me as a chibi.
Yeah, a little kid. Anyway,
Mr. and Stitch's Chibi edition.
So that's my favorite series, the Make It Yourself. I have 2 other series of books here. So this one's fun. Once upon a time, in the 60s, there was a series of little magazines called Golden Hands. And it's more of the same. It's really cool needlework. There's sewing. There's fun little, even the back page was dedicated to like a little craft of some sort, like for a little kid. So this was an embroidery. Now, they've got a little bit of everything in each magazine. Check out this fabulous model in her crocheted scarf. So there was a whole set of these. These were a periodical little magazine, and I found a stack of them once in a secondhand store, all in very good condition, as you can see. Really beautiful. And then I realized that once upon a time, after the whole thing had been printed, they started combining all of those magazines into bound volumes. It's the Golden Hands series. And I do not have this entire series either, but I have a lot of them. And the date on this one is 1966. So we're going further back in time to the 60s. And it's the same thing. You've got just sewing, cross stitch. Like, look at this. This is, now they have things called the collector's piece. Like, I don't know how long that would take. My grandmother would have done something like this. That gorgeous embroidery. Look at that. It practically looks like a photograph. Just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love this stuff. And again, you can just sit for hours and pour through these things. And even if the colors or the project designs aren't quite in keeping with the time, the instruction never gets old. So the methods, the concepts, the little tips and tricks, none of that ever gets old. I just love, there's macrame in here. A good old granny square. Look at this. Good old granny square. I just love these. I absolutely love these books. They're the kind of thing that you will pore over for hours. So that is the Creative Hands series. And that is all of these. So this is the Golden Hands, and they wound them up into books called Creative Hands. And I know that because I'll find like an entire magazine in order reprinted in one of these. So they kind of just borrowed from the previous, they took all of these previously printed magazines and bound them into books, which makes a lot of sense because these are less likely to get damaged in your collection. Although, look how faded that looks, and look how, you know, the good condition that these guys are still in. Plus, you get to see the pictures. So the picture is the same on every single book in this series, unlike the stitch by stitch or the make it yourself, where the cover and the back cover change every single month. This has always got the same front and back on it, but I think I showed you this one. The front and the back always changes on these magazines, which I love because it makes it so much fun to kind of, well, I wonder what's coming. And you know that at least that project's in there, not to mention other ones.
We have a couple of membership milestones and a gifted membership.
Ooh! Oh my gosh, look how busy it is. Kimberly, a membership milestone, member for 15 months. Thank you, Kimberly. Says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Connie, a member for 27 months. Thank you. Do you have any plans for making more crochet Halloween projects? Of course. But it's July. I can't really think of actually filming a tutorial right now. But yes, I love Halloween stuff. I do have more coming. I have quite the list. More to come on that. And Nico, thank you, has gifted another membership. And let's see here. Who won it? Carrie won it. Welcome back to membership, Carrie. Yes, Halloween. I definitely have some more Halloween-y stuff coming. We have more Halloween-inspired Fair Isle Style Plus patterns coming. I will try to get those up a little sooner rather than later. That's a good poll. Mr. InStitches, you want to do a poll?
Sure.
When should we start doing Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas tutorials? Because to me, that's all like...
You're going to break my brain.
Okay,
I don't know how to put that into one
So
question.
yeah, you know what? Let's back it up. Let's do Halloween and fall.
What you're trying to say is how much time in advance would you like to see the seasonal...
No, the question is, okay, so let's make the question, when should we start doing Halloween and Thanksgiving or fall tutorials? Now, August, or September? How's that?
So we're sticking to Halloween only?
We'll stick to Halloween/fall, because to me that's all sort of the same thing.
Okay, so when should we start Halloween crochet project?
Yes, Halloween and fall.
Oh, and fall. And it was now?
Now, next, which I guess is almost August.
Now?
September or October.
Okay.
It's a poll. I don't know. I can't believe August starts tomorrow. I just, oh my gosh. Oh, look at this. Look at this little outfit. I love that. It is just so cute. Pretty in pink. Here's another pretty in pink. That's like it's a business suit, so it's like it's the skirt and the sweater jacket to go with it. I really love knitwear. The problem I think with knitwear is like I made myself I crocheted myself a skirt once.
Super chat.
And it wanted to stretch. Cinnamon. Thank you, Jennifer. This is so much fun. I am really enjoying seeing your books. I just knew you would have some great ones. Thank you. I have an embarrassingly large number of books and magazines, but I thought I love that you've got the Stitch by Stitch books and that you brought it up because I love these things. Like I've been collecting them for 20 plus years now. I got my first Make It Yourself book when I was still a teenager, and I've been collecting them since I was 17. And I'm still looking for them. So,
did you get our super chat also from Free Handley?
Free Handley, no. Free Handley made. Oh, thank you for your easy to follow patterns. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. I've still getting used to this tablet thing. Okay, so I've got one more here. Look at this. I love dolls. I love doll making. I love dolls. I also love like cloth dolls, rag dolls. I just love this. I love the tradition of making something like that. And look at the cute little pants on that baby. Oh my gosh. Anyway, these are fantastic. So that was from the 60s, and they got combined into the Creative Hands books. Then, and a friend of mine, my friend Cindy, found me these at a garage sale. Hands up if any of you have ever seen these. These are a real wild ride. The Family Creative Workshop. So that's what the side says. Family Creative Workshop. Every single cover is like, back and front is the same, but they're all different. And they're really wild. And the only way you know the title is because it runs up the spine of the book. These are everything. I have the entire set, which is hilarious. I wasn't sure what to do with them, but they're like, it's sort of like, well, it's the Family Creative Workshop. There's every possible creative thing you can think of, including how to organize and throw a parade. Like, these books are hilarious. I'm just going to randomly open up to, what is this? Needlecraft. So there's needlecraft in here. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. You can probably tell from that font down the spine of the book that this is like kind of a 70s thing. I will tell you. $1974. Ba-bong. Right smack in the middle of the 70s. So it's another, I guess maybe this was kind of a popular thing, making a fracture trowel shine. Shine? What? Folk art. Paint and color. Making a fracture trowel shine. This is, okay, anybody German background? A fracture trowel shine. Fracture, F-R-A-K-T-U-R, Trauschein, T-R-A-U-S-C-H-E-I-N. Like an illuminated manuscript, that kind of a thing. This is folk art. So, again, everything, every possible kind of craft that you can think of winds up in these books. They're so fun. So, these are a real wild ride. So, if you find the Family Workshop, the Creative Family Workshop series, how to refinish furniture. Like, why not, you know? These are just fantastic. So, and yes, there's crochet and there's knitting, but there's everything in here. There's using old fur from fur coats. There's...
I like how the before picture, it's broken, like the door's broken off. That's some serious furniture repairs.
Genealogy, how to trace your ancestry, how to like all of the things including like visiting churches, graveyards, like there's even, in case you didn't know what a graveyard is, there's a picture of a graveyard in here, you know, because these books are awesome.
It's like an encyclopedia.
Like an encyclopedia. The Family Creative Workshop series. I have the entire thing because a friend of mine found the entire thing for sale at a garage sale, and she thought, I have an inkling my friend Jayda might like this. And it's true, I do. I've not even had a chance to go through the entire thing yet, but there's like enameling, copper pendant. Like this is just one book. And every single article is written by a guest contributor who's kind of like a master in their field. So it's actually a really good series of books. So those are the hardcover crafting series books that I have. And I absolutely adore all of them. They're just so fun. So if you ever are in a secondhand store, go to the book section, go to the crafting hobby book section, and look for those series. They usually have them all grouped together. Stitch by Stitch is from the 80s. It's awesome. Make It Yourself is from the 70s. It's my personal favorite. Creative Hands is from the 60s. It's absolutely fabulous too. And the Family Creative Workshop. It's just a riot, and there's just all kinds of cool crafts and hobbies. Things you probably don't even know were ever a thing, because it's like they came and they went, you know, kind of like Friendly Plastic. A lot of young people don't know what Friendly Plastic was. I love Friendly Plastic. And this is another example of a lot of the old publications that I have in my crafty library. Some of these came from my grandmother because she would collect them and keep them, and she gave me a bunch. And some of these I've just found in secondhand stores, and sometimes you buy a book in a secondhand store, and while you're leafing through it later, one of these lovelies falls out because they didn't even know it was there. So this is kind of like it would be kind of like an insert for a magazine or a newspaper, and it's the Australian Woman's Weekly, July 5th, 1967, Knitting for Children. And it's definitely like newspaper, you know, it's bound with staples. It's very, very, but it's colored. Look at that. I almost looked a bit like that when I was a kid. So we've got like some cute little sweaters on the front for children. What else have we got in here? Oh yeah, like this is just adorable. That hat with the pom-pom, I mean, come on. That is so cute. I just love that. And this one modeling with the umbrella, like
That's a serious pose.
So
is the one with the elf outfit.
The elf outfit. I love that. That bit of checkered work at the bottom. That is really cute. I really love that. That is really nice.
Jayda would wear that in public.
Yeah, I would wear that right now.
Allowed.
Yeah, in public. Yeah. And people, you know what would happen? Where'd you get that? Yeah, that's what would happen. All of the instructions. Oh my god.
You have to wear it with authority.
This has to be like a little skating outfit. This reminds me of a little skating outfit. Look how cute that is. I love that little bonnet. I think, you know, I kind of want the whole crochet or knit bonnet for like young people and adults to come back, because what's warmer around your head in the winter than something that actually closes over your ears? I love that. It's so cute. That's really cute too. Oh my gosh.
Membership milestone from Barbara.
Barbara! A member for 41 months. Thank you, Barbara. I have been watching this tag on several YouTube videos. I love it. It's great. I love the old books. The old books are like, well, I mean, it's better than history. Like I said, none of this, the style might be kind of out. Although I have to say, with the busyness of the internet and the onset of things like Pinterest and Etsy and stuff, I feel like all styles are now in everywhere all the time. Like, I'll look at something and go, oh, that's really cool. And I'll find out it was from like 2012. And I'll think, okay, so it's already 11 years out of date, but it still looks brand new to me, you know? If you like it, wear it. That's what I say. If you like it, wear it. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh my gosh, this is just so cute. Yeah, like, oh, I like this dress. Huh. Okay. Look at the dress on this little tween. I love that. That's really cute. These books are so much fun, and then this just so darn cute. This is really cute too. I love the little poses. Again with the pom-pom on the hat. I love that. Oh my gosh. These are so great. Anyway, this is from 67, did I say? 65? 67. I have several things from 1967, which makes me think that perhaps there was like kind of an explosion in the late 60s. You know how it always takes the corporations a little bit of time to catch up with what's cool amongst the kiddos. I feel like the whole make your own clothing thing was starting to be kind of a real folk art explosion in the late 60s, early 70s. And it's the 67, 68, 69, but especially 70, 71, 72, 73, when we just see that explosion in the written material of patterns and, ideas and techniques and everything. And I feel like that really came out of the late 60s, that groundswell of the DIY, the folk art, the make your own clothing, that seems to have really kind of propelled that, which is I think why I have so much literature from that era, 67 to 73. There's a lot in my collection from that time. I still have stuff that's older, but it's just, there wasn't quite as much. It just seems like it was everywhere. Look at this little beret. I love this. That's a really cute beret. I might do a tutorial on that because I would wear that. It's very like, it's got little holes in it, but it looks like a little pie. I like the way that looks. I want to know if they have, like, if somebody... Teen Time Beret. Materials, 3 balls, patterns, jet, number 7 crochet hook. Measurements, to fit average head. I love this stuff. Commence with 4 chain, join to form a ring. See, this is all pretty easy. Oh. 4 chain, 11 treble. Now, I want to know, is this, because this is the Australian Women's Weekly, Australia, do you guys usually use British terminology, or would you have been using American terminology? Because I don't think this actually says what terminology it is. But you know what? All I have to do is whip up a quick sample, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's, actually, I don't know. Maybe double crochet? No. Really? Eh. I'm going to whip one up and find out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that later today. And we shall see. If I like the way it turns out, I'm going to do a little tutorial on it. What I'd like to know is who wrote the pattern. I don't know that the names of the people or the contributors are in this, and I wish they were. So I would like to do his or her pattern and sing out their name, whether they're still with us or not.
Most Aussies use British terms, says
so it's
Charity.
British terms. So that would be that treble would probably be our double. In other words, it looks like doubles to me. Thank you. Who said that? Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Most Aussies use British terms. That's from Cherry. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So, would anybody be interested in a tutorial on that? Like, is that something any of you would like to wear, or is it just me and maybe Cinnamon? I feel like I kind of have to do the cool black like 60s eyeshadow if I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I love berets. We have a beret tutorial already. We did one beret, which was really simple, and I love it. And then we have that, and we have a pattern for a mushroom style beret in our Etsy shop. But this one's really cute, so I'm gonna figure it out. And if I have to make any adjustments for
Looks
yarn,
like we're getting a lot of thumbs up for the beret tutorial.
Okay, I'll do it if I can. If it's not too difficult, then maybe I'll whip one up for midweek. We shall see. Or
no pressure, no pressure. We have to do the blanket strip this week.
Yeah, I know that's going to be
it's
busy.
Probably not going to happen this week,
right. It's
but
Fair Isle Friday.
maybe the following week.
Mr. InStitches is right. This is Fair Isle week. It's a little bit busy.
I'm like Jayda InStitches manager.
It's true. I get so excited. I'm just looking at it. It's only 14 rounds, and I'm just thinking we might be able to do this live, like on a live stream. So maybe this will be next Monday's live stream.
Oh, maybe, yeah, if you figure it out.
Live tutorial. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiddle around with it. If I like it, then we will do this on our live stream next Monday. And I will put out a little recommendation list of materials and hook sizes. You know, so if you want to make it along with us, we'll do that Monday. Because that is awesome.
Well, it's definitely a go for everyone watching would like to see it.
Monday. We'll do this Monday, everybody. It'll be the Australian Women's Weekly beret. Wish I knew who had written it. Women's Weekly.
Maybe it says somewhere else in the magazine.
Well, it's a little insert, so obviously
in, like super fine print.
The Women's Weekly, they were really great at not crediting people back then. If you worked for the corporation, your ideas were their ideas.
Ah, just like today.
Yes. But I will say, this is the July 5th, 1967 Australian's Women Weekly. It was like obviously like a little insert, and it's the beret on the back page. So, to whomever made this beret, thank you. I'm going to fiddle around with it with some modern yarn and hook sizes. We'll see what we can come up with, and that'll be next Monday's live stream. That'll be fun. It's worth going through all this old stuff.
I'm going to end the current poll.
Oh, yes.
You ready?
Yes, yes. When should we start Halloween/fall crochet projects? Now! 66%. September 33, October 0. Whoa! Okay. All right. All right. I'm trying to rejig some of the things on my list, but we can do that. We can definitely do that. All right. Thanks for voting, everybody. Okay.
I don't want to spoil it, but do you think we should do a poll on what we were going to do today, tutorial-wise, versus the beret for next week?
Can you ask that question again?
Remember the plan we had for today's tutorial?
Oh, yes.
So we had a plan,
Yes.
and then we pivoted.
Yes, because Cinnamon tagged us, and we thought this would be
Yes,
much more
Cinnamon
interesting.
surprised us with another tag.
Yes.
So we did a pivot. But do you want to do a poll, or would you rather just focus on the beret?
I think the beret.
Yeah.
I think we can still do what we were going
You're
to do
all
today.
jazzed about the 1960s beret.
Yeah, we have many Mondays yet to come.
Okay, well
so
then we'll do that one another day.
I think we'll do that one another day. I think the beret would be a lot of fun. So we'll do the beret next Monday. I'm going to fiddle with it, and I'll get a list of materials and hook sizes out to everybody. That'll be a post in the community post. So if you want to make that cute beret with us, because I'm thinking in terms of like fall attire, a beret, perfect. If you want it a little warmer, go with like acrylics, wools, blends. If you want it a little cooler because you want to wear it still in the summer, then maybe with cottons or cotton blends. I might just launch right into like some cool weather yarn for that. I don't know. I'm going to see what it looks best in. I don't know what Patton's Jet yarn was. Jet actually might have been the color description.
I'm thinking Jet was the color. Because that tends to be a common name for black.
Well, actually no, because it says 3 balls Patton Jet, and Jet is capitalized, like almost like Jet was the...
Is it 1 T or 2 T's?
1 T. Patton's Jet, and a number 7 crochet hook.
We'll have to look it up.
Well, if a number 7 is...
Patton's is still out there, right? They're
Oh,
still
yeah.
doing yarn?
Yeah, Patton's still
I thought
making
so.
yarn. I have Patton's yarn.
Like new Patton's yarn?
Somebody want to do a quick Google search and just type
I
in...
can also do that.
Okay, Patton's...
Hopefully it doesn't mess up our stream here.
Patton's Jet yarn and just see what comes back. Because I'm guessing it was like a line. But we shall see.
Okay. Pilled,
12-ply
3
wool
or more
alpaca
piles,
blend.
fiber, wool, 70% wool, 30% alpaca. So
Cinnamon-
it was good quality stuff.
Cinnamon totally beats you to the punch.
Cinnamon! Hey!
12-ply wool
Cinnamon's
alpaca
taking
blend.
my job away from me.
12-ply. Okay. And it
This
calls
says
for...
3-ply. I'm looking at a Google search here.
Well, I'm looking at this picture.
No, I see the one that says 12.
Okay. And it says it called for a 7 hook.
Maybe
and
there were variations.
A size 7 is like a 4.5 millimeter. Like a G6.
Now this
somewhere
says
that
in
neighborhood.
brackets Australia. So was it specific to Australia?
Yeah, this was specific to Australia. But a 7 is the old, one of the old hook size chart measurement things. I can't think of the word right now. And I still quote them sometimes when we're doing tutorials. So like a 7 is also a 7, but it's about 4.5 millimeters. So it's a 4.5 millimeter.
So it
hook.
looks to me that their name Jet was a brand name.
Yeah, it was a brand name.
Yeah.
Not
so
the color.
they called a certain type of their yarn Jet, not the color.
Yeah. Aaron Waite, really?
Maybe they were insinuating you can crochet really fast with this stuff.
Aaron Waite. That just doesn't look that thick. You know what? I'm going to start with a 4 weight, like your typical worsted weight. I'm going to start there, and I'll see how this works out. That's the fun thing about these old patterns. You usually can't get the same yarn anymore. You sometimes may not even be able to get yarn that's an equivalent weight category. You have to do a lot of experimenting, but I find that fun. So that's Jayda's little challenge for the for her off hours the rest of this week. This Friday is Fair Isle Friday. I can't believe it. That'll be number 8. It's August, and no spoilers. But I am looking forward to that one.
This is the week, right? Are we not entering August?
August is tomorrow. So
tomorrow.
This Friday's the first Friday.
This Friday is the blanket strip / square.
Yeah, first Friday in August. That means it's Fair Isle Friday. All this week.
Fair Isle Friday.
We're going to be doing photo roundups of everybody's blankets. We started already today. So if you've got Fair Isle style calendar blanket progress that you'd like to share with the community at large, feel free to send a photo to us at our Etsy shop, and just make sure you can tell us that it's okay to share, because we like to have your permission before we do that. And we've got we're gonna have those all this week, so we think one went up already today, and we've got some more to share with you. I love it. I just love seeing everybody's progress. It's amazing.
Our bundle summer sale starts tomorrow.
Our summer sale starts tomorrow.
It goes for the whole month.
Wendy, welcome to Alpaca. Wendy, thank you so much for joining the family. Just sneaking in there at the tail end of the live stream. I hope I answered Cinnamon's tag appropriately. So my oldest pattern book.
I think so. I think Cinnamon's still here. She can answer that question for us.
Like I said, I've got the other ones from the 20s, but I think they're kind of tucked away in a safe place because they're kind of different and a little awkward. So one of these days I'm going to pull them out and we'll go through them. And I think maybe we'll go through them on the craft table together so you can sort of see each page because they're beautiful. But they're from the 20s. The other 20s. The last set of 20s. The roaring 20s.
So, Bree, a subscriber, asks, what should I crochet? So I assume you're asking as a beginner?
Bree, what should I crochet? It depends. Oh my goodness,
it depends on your level and what you're in the mood for.
Nico, before I answer that, thank you, Nico, for gifting another membership. Tony has won it. Welcome to the family, Tony, and thank you, Nico. What should I crochet? I love this question. So this all, like Mr. InStitches says, it depends on your mood, what you have on hand, and what you feel like doing. So I like what Cinnamon said in one of her last videos. She said she jumped into this beautiful round baby blanket project that she saw in a magazine because she thought, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And she was still new to crochet, and it never occurred to her that maybe something might be difficult. And I've said this from the beginning. Pay no attention. When something says beginner, intermediate, hardcore, whatever the ism on it is, don't pay any attention to it. If you can crochet and you know the basic stitches, so chaining, slip stitching, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, even treble crochet. If you know those basic stitches, you can do any pattern. All you have to do is just take a deep breath, be patient with yourself, and keep looking at the photo. It's really helpful if these things have photographs. But don't get all caught up in, oh, I won't be able to do that because I think I'm a beginner and therefore this says intermediate and that's above my head. I mean, technically a granny square could be considered an intermediate project, but that's the thing I usually teach to beginners. It just depends on the project. It depends on the person. Maybe, you know, it's going to take you a lot longer to get the handle of chaining just because you're trying to, you know, work the kinks out of your own hands. That's fine. So that's where you start. Someone else may be coming to crochet from like a knitting background or an embroidery background and already have a lot of dexterity, and picking up the individual stitches isn't difficult. And if you're already familiar with reading, say, knitting patterns, and then making the leap to reading crochet patterns is like nothing. And like Cinnamon, you can just jump right into some crazy difficult-ish pattern and have it come out okay. Honestly, the level of requirement for a pattern is how much do you want to make that thing. You know, if you are being told you have to make a dishcloth, you have to perfect the single crochet stitch, I guarantee you're going to walk away from the craft so fast because you're like, if I have to be perfect and this boring thing that I need to make is a dishcloth, I'm out. But if you're like, I really want to make that hat. I love hats. That beret is adorable. I want that beret because all my friends have that beret or whatever it is in your head. Then I guarantee you've got more motivation to learn how to make that beret and do that pattern than somebody who's being told that they have to make a dishcloth before they're allowed to progress in the stitch craft. No. So those little pattern levels are just there as a guide. They're just there to kind of give you a quick overview of like, oh, this might be a little more complicated, or maybe this has like 20 rows of pattern repeat in it, and that might be a bit much to remember if you're new to the idea. It also depends on what that person writing the pattern thinks is difficult or thinks is easy. Regularly, if you look through YouTube and the various tutorials, you know, for crochet or knitting or whatever, and if someone says, you know, easy, blah, 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 fast, have one made today, and you go, oh, yeah, and it's a 5-minute tutorial, and you get frustrated so fast because it doesn't feel easy, and it certainly doesn't take only 5 minutes to do. Well, maybe the person who made that tutorial has been crocheting for 40 years and, you know, whipping together a pile of stitches into a particular design is easy to them. So they think, oh, this is easy. Forgetting maybe that somebody who's still kind of getting used to manipulating the hook and yarn doesn't find it quite so easy. So easy, medium, difficult, these are all very relative terms, and they're very specific to the individual. So I say, if you find a pattern that you like, try it. Try it. You fail all the times you don't try, right? So try it. And if you get even halfway through it, well, that's halfway further than you would have gotten if you thought, oh, that's difficult. Well, I'm not even going to try. Try it. Try it. You'd be amazed at what you can do when you just try things.
You can do it!
Yeah, you can do it!
We got a super chat.
It's a super sticker.
We got a super sticker.
Coffee. Thank you, Kimberly. I think I would like another cup of coffee.
It's my favorite one.
So to get back to Bree's question, and this is a great question for anybody to answer, what should I crochet? Crochet what you feel like. I made myself a new kerchief on the weekend because I wanted to, and I was happy to have something that I could stick that cute little fat narwhal on the bottom of. I've been waiting for an excuse to use that. And it's now my new favorite. I love this thing. I've been wearing it since I put it on. I'm a little warm at the moment, so it was good to take it off. But make something that you need. Make something that you want. Make something that you think is silly or pretty or funny. You know, what mood are you in? Do you just want to practice? You know, practice some stitches. You can always take it out. There's nothing saying it has to stay. I think if you want to make a gift, think about that person. Think about things they like. Think about colors they like. Think about, you know, big events that are coming up. If you're the type of person that likes to give things for Christmas, oh, you should have started last month. Your make-ahead stash should better have at least 5 things in it already. And on that note, if you are thinking about things for your make-ahead stash, we did a little shower scrubby. These are relatively quick, although they are using a bobble stitch. So keep that in mind if you're going to give it a try. Bobble stitches are busy stitches and they can take up a little bit of time. They might slow you down a bit, but relatively speaking, a pretty quick project. You can make a few of these. Once you get comfortable with the pattern, you'll get faster. They're great for the shower. They're even great for the sink if you just want to sort of do dishes. You're not going to drop them though. I like this little strap. People were asking about this specific yarn. I think I mentioned it in the intro. This is that scrubby yarn. Specifically, it's this stuff. It's the Bernat Scrub Off. So it's 100% cotton, but it oscillates between regular, normal yarn, like cotton yarn, and then that crazy scrubby stuff. and it's self-striping. So I love this. We had a ball of red, blue, and white. I've got this one that's all kind of shades of denim, which I really like, and then I've got another one.
That was mine. I chose that one.
You did, yes. Mr. InStitches Family.
I get yarn points.
Yarn points. Scrub off. Bernat scrub off. I love this stuff. It's cotton, and it feels nice, and it's good in the dishes. It's also good in the shower. So, and that was a question from Friday. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. We have Fair Isle Friday this Friday. Busy week ahead of us for Mr. InStitches and I. And it looks like I'm going to be doing that beret, if all things work out, for next Monday's live stream. This was a very fun tag. Thank you so much, Cinnamon, for that. What's the oldest book in your collection? I love books. And I especially love reference books. They're just wonderful.
Do you remember where we got that yarn? I'm going to guess
Walmart.
It was either Michael's or Walmart. Yeah, but like years ago.
Yeah, like
it might not be there now. I don't know.
2019 maybe?
I'm going to say 3 to 4 years ago.
I'm going to guess that Bernat still makes a scrub off, so you might have to check the Yarnspirations website. They must still have some.
Probably.
Because it's a good product.
Yeah, it's good. It's 100% cotton, isn't it? Yeah.
Shell was telling me that, so the non-scrubby cotton in the scrub off is like this.
It's better than that super plasticky stuff we tried. Remember that? Like,
yeah. The Red Heart scrubby is like
it's just really hard
polyester
stuff.
acrylic rayon or something. I don't know. It's really hard and it's not as easy to work with. But the normal cotton in this ball of yarn is like super soft. It's like amazing cotton. And I remember thinking, I had the same thought Shell did, which is, why is this so much nicer than their usual handicrafter stuff? And Shell was saying that there's actually, Bernat makes cotton yarn called, ooh, I'm going to mess this up, Ripple or something? Shell, if you're still here, can you chime in? And it's comes from, I think she said Turkey, and it's like this amazingly soft 100% cotton. It's much better spun. Like it's just a better quality cotton than the usual handicrafter. So it's a funny mix of like this scrubby stuff and this super soft, wonderful cotton. So I really like the scrub off for that reason. And it's kind of fun to work with. Cinnamon, anybody? I think Shell maybe popped in and popped back out again. I'm going to have to go back and check my messages. But apparently Bernat's making that yarn and selling it under a different name, like Cotton Ripple or Cotton Ruffle or Cotton something. I don't know. Everybody has so many funny little names for their lines of yarn. But it's really nice, soft yarn. So if they still have the scrub off, give it a try if you haven't already, because it's 100% cotton and it feels really nice on the skin and it really works well in the dishes. I pretty much exclusively use my little pot scrubber that we did a tutorial for. We've got 2 of them actually. I use those exclusively in the sink. That's how I do my dishes. I've kind of gravitated away from dishcloths for a little while. I like to set things on dishcloths to dry. I like to use dishcloths to like almost in lieu of a pot holder, not necessarily for something super hot, but like I just like them kind of almost like a bigger coaster sometimes on the counter. But for scrubbing the dishes right now, I'm all about my little pot scrubbers. I just feel like I have the most control over those. I'll link to that tutorial after the live stream. I'll make sure that links in the description box. Anyway, I think we've definitely been going for an hour.
Yeah, we've gone over, but I just want to share with you, everyone really enjoyed today's live stream, seeing the old books and stuff.
Marvelous!
Shout out to Cinnamon Stitches for the tag.
Yes.
Shout out to everyone that gifted and super chatted. We really appreciate the support.
We really do. It means a lot. More than ever.
Purchase the patterns in our Etsy shop.
Mm-hmm. Big sale starts tomorrow.
Yep.
So
bundle. It's going to be a bundle sale. It starts tomorrow. It's going to go all month.
Yep.
Most of the month.
Most of the month. Till the 30th.
Till the 30th. So plenty of time. I also want to remind everyone, YouTube recently added these really fun little buttons. You can kind of click, I don't know if anyone noticed, but on the bottom or at the right side, there's like a heart, little smiley face, 100%. You can click those and they sort of animate.
Yeah.
And if Jayda has her eyes on the screen, she'll
I
see
do. I
them.
can see them.
Can you see the little hearts?
Yeah, little hearts and 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the 100%.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so I think we covered everything. There might have been a handful of questions I missed, but just repeat your question in the comments, and we'll get to them for sure.
Yes, and thank you so much for hanging out with us and sitting through my little library report. Like Cinnamon said, if you've got an old book to share and you're making a video, tag Cinnamon or us. Maybe tag us both. I'd like to see it too. And if you've got photos of that old publication that maybe you'd like to share with the community, feel free to send us a photo at our Etsy shop, and we'll put together a little collage.
So we're just going to assume if you share the photo on our Etsy shop for the book, we're going to go ahead and share it with the community.
Yes.
Just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
So make sure there's no personal information in that photograph.
Yes. Yeah, keep your personal information hidden, please.
It's okay if there's a cat or a dog sleeping on it. That's fine.
Cats and dogs are
That's acceptable.
In the meantime, everybody, have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay crafty. We'll see you Friday for the Fair Isle Style August edition. You're going to like it, I'm sure. It's going to surprise you. I know it will. And we'll see you then. Take care. And anything else you'd like to add, Mr. InStitches?
No, just bye-bye, everyone. See you Friday.